Hello there, hello there, hello there, and welcome back to the Agostino Zinga Show with your host, Agostino Zinga, and this is episode number 808. That is 808, which is ocho in Espanol. Welcome back, my hombres. Welcome back, mi chicos. Welcome back, mi chicas. How you doing? How you feeling? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Today's podcast is a very interesting one, very mind-opening, and just one of those podcasts that you're gonna really want to remember. You're going to want to pay attention to things that I say today because I'm going to be delivering some very key, some very important, and some very, very good news for you today. First things first, today's the first day that I'll be streaming this podcast on my YouTube channel. I obviously do take this podcast and upload it onto my podcast platform that you can watch and listen to. But this is the first time that all the streams of the Tazs show will be living here. So the Agostino Zinga Show, all the podcasts will be living here. I finally decided to split things up. I've mentioned it already in a random show. If you listen to Tazs, you probably won't care what I do in a random show. I find that some of the audience is a bit split, but if it's not split and there's overlap, just so you know, all the random show episodes, all the random show clips, all the random show streams from now on will be on the specific random show channel. And that specific random show channel, you'll be able to find it in the link in my description. If you want to view it, it's Random Show at AZ. So it's at and Random Show AZ. You can find it on YouTube, easy to find. It's on my channel as well. If you go on my channel, you'll see link channels underneath and you can find it straight away. So that's the main bit of news. So all the live streams you'll see on here will be of Tazs. The only live streams you'll see on here will be of Tazs, will be of cultural commentary live streams. Maybe one day I'll do like a live stream of an interview that's happening that's quite important to check out. And you also see DJ live streams. So on this channel, the only thing you're gonna see here are Tazs live streams and DJ live streams. I want to split this up because I was getting a little bit annoyed and I was getting a little bit frustrated for you guys checking out my channel. And those of you that just want to see comedy stuff, you're coming on my channel, you're seeing me talk about trainers, and then the next minute I'm DJing, and then the next minute I'm shitting on Brendan Schaub. It's just a bit all muddled up and too mixy. So we're gonna split things up and make it nice and split. So when I do my comedy and all that other stuff live stream on the Random Show news, it will live on the Random Show channel. When I do cultural commentary news like I do today, it's gonna live here on the Agostino Zinga channel. That's what we're gonna be doing. Nice and split, nice and even. For those of you listening to the audio side of the podcast, you won't even hear about any of this stuff. It won't really matter to you in the slightest, really, so don't worry about it too much. But if you do watch the video side of anything that I do from now on, everything Random Show will be living on its own channel, which is the Random Show. You can find that link in the description. But obviously on this channel, I will be uploading like clips. I think there's like all the clips up until like episode 280 will still be on here. But episode 281 is going to live on the Random Show channel itself. That's it, nice and clear. I can't wait. And I'm really, really excited about it because I feel like this is going to give me a new bit of vive, a new bit of a step, a new bit of a punch. Because I feel like the mixing of it was kind of like putting me off to do certain things because I felt like I was mixing too many viewerships into one thing, and then people were getting annoyed when they saw certain things on their feed. They might unsubscribe, they might report me. You know what I mean? So I think splitting it will kind of allow people to sort of understand that it's two different shows, even though they live on one channel. I could basically do it all on one channel, but I just think it's confusing, so I'd rather have it split on two channels. That's what we're going to be doing going forward. Let's hope and pray everything goes okay, but it should be fine. It's not that much hassle, really. It's just two separate channels, one specifically comedy and one, of course, cultural commentary like I'm doing today. That's it, really. What was I going to talk about? Randomly, actually, I was going to talk about some news. I got stuff to talk about, but I wanted to quickly touch upon this Ugarte situation. As much as I'm excited about the signing of Ugarte, I think the last I checked, I think Fulham were in for Sanderberg, the midfielder, I think from, is it Brentford? No, I think he's Danish. Pretty good midfielder. I'm not gonna lie. He's played against us a couple of times and I've been impressed by him. I don't think he's the same profile as an Ugarte, personally, for me. I don't think he's the same profile as an Ugarte. If anything, I think Sanderberg is probably closer to McTominay. I don't really think he's a DM, but still, we need the bodies in midfield. Midfield, especially central midfield, Man United are really lacking in options. So I was really wondering, I was curious to know, and I hope the club leaks the information. I would like for the club to explain why they didn't sign Amrabat, just as the option. No, he's not a world beater. No one's saying Sofian Amrabat is world class, but as a body, as an option there, because he was more than happy to come up from the bench. He didn't really kick up any problems, and when he was depended on, when we needed him the most, especially towards the end of the season, he played really well. So I'm really, 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 really curious to know why we didn't just sign Amrabat, just as a backup option, just in case, because worst comes to worst, imagine if PSG hold out on Ugarte and say, you know what, we want a certain fee for him. If you're not going to pay it, we're not going to flip and let him go. Then at least you have a backup for Casemiro. Because at the moment, I'm very worried. A couple of injuries and that midfield starts to look like, you know, starts to look a bit funny style. Unless the other option, because I'm not really too plugged into the youth team players who are coming up now. Maybe there's a midfielder in the youth team that Erik ten Hag likes the look of and might think is a good backup. That could be an option. Maybe that's why we let go of Sofian Amrabat. Maybe there's a midfielder now at the moment, a kid who's like under 21, who the coaching staff think is better or has more potential than Amrabat. So why keep a 28-year-old Amrabat when you can just have that kid play? You know, maybe there's something in there. I'm not really too sure, but I would like. I'm just feeling nervous about the season going forward, because at the moment I'm still very nervous that we don't have a Bruno Fernandes replacement, or that the club, no, forget the club, Erik ten Hag doesn't trust whoever is on the bench to replace Bruno Fernandes. Like, he'll play that guy with one broken leg. So I'm nervous that if Bruno Fernandes has a bad season or doesn't play well, there's not like a good like-for-like sub, and we won't use them, even if there is, because we just rely on Bruno Fernandes because he's such a clutch player. And I'm also worried if Casemiro goes on a bad run of games like he did last season, we don't have another person to kind of fill in for him either. That's the only issue that I'm seeing here. The only other option I could imagine, but I don't really see that to be the case, do you ever think could be a really stretch? This could be a stretch, right? Maybe there's a possibility that Erik ten Hag sees like Lisandro Martinez or Lenny Euro as like an option at DM if worse comes to worse. If worse comes to worse and we're decimated, maybe because those two players are really good on the ball. Because I was always wondered, why didn't Erik ten Hag ever try Lisandro Martinez in midfield, actually? Because I know he did it a couple of times in Ajax. He played pretty well because he carries the ball very well, looks after the ball very well, good range of passing. So maybe Erik ten Hag doesn't really think it's a necessity to get a backup. Obviously, if we get a high quality improvement in terms of Ugarte, that's going to be something to go after. But maybe that's the case. But I would just like to know, because I saw just recently somebody mentioned on socials that it was Amrabat's 20th birthday. I was like, shit, he's gone in it. We didn't sign him in the end. So I wonder what we're doing now going forward, because it looks like this Ugarte signing might go to the deadline. And it looks like PSG really want whatever money they're quoting us, they want the full amount. They don't want anything else, no cuts, no discounts, no nothing. So I'm a little bit worried about that going forward. I'm not going to lie, because as good as we've started this season, I still have the feeling that things could fall off the wagon very quickly. All it takes is a couple of injuries. You know this United club, man. You know that the fan base is already on edge. A lot of the fans, myself included, didn't even think Erik ten Hag deserved to still have a job. So there's a lot of people, Erik ten Hag outers, just waiting at the doors, you know, with their fucking machetes, ready to go as soon as we fucking flounder. And I think the players also aren't the most mentally stable either. I think the players too have a little bit of like shakiness in them. So if the season, if we have a couple of bad results and shit, those players also might go missing. So I don't know. I think those players need help. And the way that they need help is for somebody to take a bit of pressure off of them, and obviously good players do that. So let's see. Who knows what's going to happen? Fingers crossed everything goes well. Fingers crossed everything goes well. So, as most of you guys know, the most shocking news of the year has just burst onto our timelines. This is up there with some of the most craziest news you've heard this year. It's definitely Oops, I gotta get the dog. 1 second. Go get the dog. Get the dog. Oopsie. Sorry about that. People flying, you know how it is. Yeah, exactly. Game Boy Footballer. I was ordering that. This is my fifth DoorDash. My fifth DoorDash. It's not even 2 p.m. yet. I've already spent £100 on DoorDash. So make sure you get those tips in, yeah? Make sure you get those subscriptions in. make sure you get those tips in, right? Help me out. I've already spent £100 on DoorDash. It's not even 2 p.m. yet. Yo, let's go. DoorDash goons. You feel me? 200 in DoorDash. That's what I'm on, bro. Fuck losing weight to fit into Rick Owens. We're getting blonked so we can just be big, wide as the fucking camera lens. Let's fucking go. Anyways, so this is the most craziest news I've heard this year. Something that's definitely shooketh me at my core, and I wanted to share it with you guys because I'm still shaking from this. Of course, this particular news comes from the one and only, the most reputable news source in the world, TMZ. TMZ are reporting that J-Lo has pulled the trigger on divorcing Ben Affleck. Absolutely crazy news. Crazy flipping news. How dare she do that to Bay? How dare she do that to Mr. Affleck? Mr. B-Dot, huh? How dare she do that? What's going on here, man? Absolutely crazy. I did not see this happening. I did not see this one coming. I didn't see it in any way, shape, or cause. But the interesting part of it, no prenup, no settlement. Clean break. We both got our separate ways. And that's it, sayonara. And obviously we got the classic picture they always use for celebrity breakups when they have this like break in the middle. I love it. Whenever people get broken up, the first thing they do, or whenever people broken up, Jesus Christ, whenever people break up or divorce, I love the picture graphic they use. They always add a little like tear in the middle, a red line, an X. It's fucking hilarious. So the news says as follows: Jennifer Lopez has done what seemed was inevitable. She has filed for divorce from Ben Affleck, TMZ has learned, but there are no major twists, including the symbolisms of when they were finally decided to do it. J-Lo filed the documents on Tuesday in LA County Court, but they were not filed by the lawyer. Jennifer filed pro per, meaning by herself and without any attorney. So nice and clean. They got married in private, they broke up in private. Fair. She listed the date of separation as April the 26th, 2024. God damn. They've been split for a while, innit? Shit. Okay, however, today, August 20th, is also significant of the benefit law. It marks the second anniversary of the huge and more traditional wedding ceremony they held in Georgia, so it hardly seems a coincidence that Jen filed today. Now, here's a real shocker. J-Lo does not say in her docs whether there is a prenup, and sources with knowledge tell TMZ there is indeed no prenuptial agreement. That makes sense, to be fair. That does make sense. They're both quite filthy rich anyway. Why would you have a prenup? It doesn't make any sense in that regard. It continues on. That would mean whatever earnings or profit Ben and Jen made during their nearly 2 years of marriage, for instance, since they tied a knot, Ben starred in Air and Hypnotic and produced the Instigators. He's also wrapped up filming for The Accountant 2. And J-Lo has been, during her marriage, she had a Shotgun Wedding, The Mother, and This Is Me and Atlas. What's shocking is that J-Lo's fourth marriage and Ben's second, and you'd think a prenup would be obvious. Apparently, they thought it was a forever marriage, but it didn't work out that way. According to docs, Jennifer waived her spousal support and is asking the judge to deny Ben such support as well. So, the main thing I want to take from this is as follows. I'm just confused at this stage of life, considering where we are in culture. I'm still confused that some people are holding marriage up on a pedestal like this, especially when you're a celebrity of these people's ilks. When you're J-Lo and you've been married 4 times, surely at some point you got to look in the mirror and think, maybe it's me. And I don't mean maybe it's you as in you're a bad person, or that you're a horrible wife, or that you're a nightmare to deal with, which you probably are. But let's put that to one side. It's just more the sense of like, maybe if it hasn't worked out 4 times and we've only got a finite amount of time on this planet Earth, maybe it's best just for you to say, you know what? I'm going to chalk up to the game. Marriage isn't meant for me. That's perfectly okay nowadays. I thought in the past, maybe, especially women, maybe had more pressure to marry. But I think nowadays, probably women have more pressure to have kids, which I still think is something that people shouldn't be doing likely with any Tom, Dick, and Harry, especially some of the, douchebag dudes who exist out there who kind of get a lot of pleasure out of making women's lives a misery. I think you should be very, cautious about who you open your legs up to and who you have kids with. But surely nowadays, the whole marriage thing should be something that people should be really thinking long and hard about. And it should be an individual thing. It shouldn't be just because, I got to a certain age or I'm at a certain point in life, I have to get married. Or I've been with somebody this amount of time, we have to get married. No, you don't. You don't have to do anything. You kind of define what your love is. You define what your situation is. If anything, the most important thing should be that you have somebody that is supportive, loving, caring, there for you in whatever shape or form that you think is important, and then you take it from there. But the whole idea of like having a wedding, elaborate or small, it doesn't really matter. It's just unnecessary, especially for some people who clearly aren't built for it. And it looks like Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, Ben's on his second, she's on her fourth, they're clearly not built for it. Unless there's a certain group of people out there, similar to people who love to have kids just because they enjoy having kids. Maybe there are some freaks out there who enjoy getting married. Maybe there are some freaks out there who enjoy the whole process of like, you know, seduction, attraction, seduction, compatibility, relationship, They enjoy the whole journey. They enjoy it. Well, however way it goes, for them it's another story to add to their book of stories when they go to the bar and start talking to some random tourist or something. For me personally, I just think there's just far too little time on this earth. Legit far too little time. It felt like just the other day that I was leaving sixth form. Honestly, I can close my eyes now and I can remember the last time I left sixth form. If I close my eyes harder, I could probably remember the last time I left secondary school. I could probably remember the last day of secondary school, where we all took off our t-shirts and started writing messages on each other's t-shirts about how we wish each other luck in the future. Girls who you never knew fancied you, we'll leave you a little cheeky message on there. Guys who, you know, that you're friends with will draw fucking numerous penises all over your fucking t-shirt. I can literally remember that if I close my eyes hard enough. And then boom, flash, and it's completely over. And now you're an adult, you're paying council tax and flipping, you know, you're getting a fucking travel card to go to work and shit. Time moves very quickly. And I just think nowadays, considering how long, I don't know, the average time to get married, what's the average time between a relationship? Maybe 2 years, maybe 4. So you have to get to know somebody, you have to date them, be in a relationship with them for like 4+ years before you get married. And then when you get married, you just have to make it work for the sake of making it work. Nah. I do believe maybe there should be a lot more like, I wouldn't say pressure, but maybe there should be a lot more onus put on people to try and figure out their relationship instead of just breaking up and looking for the next thing, because usually the grass isn't always green on the other side. But I also believe that not everyone should get married, honestly. The same way not everyone should have kids is the same way not everyone should be married. It just doesn't make any sense, because I can't imagine the hell, the stress it must cause to have 4 separate marriages on your docket, to have 4 ex-husbands. It's already enough when people have like a crazy amount of exes. You're like, rah, Ted, man. How many spirit tires do you have out there? How many bits of yourself have you left out there in the world, right? It's just so mad how people can do that. Or just how many, like, you know, inane, mundane relationship conversations have you had that? How many people's hands have you held? How many people have you swapped spit with? It's like just too much. So can you imagine marrying somebody, having been married 4 times, saying I do 4 times? God damn. That's too much for me. I could never do it. And if for me anyway, I'm a very emotional person, and just being married twice and then having it end twice, even if I'm the one that filed for divorce, that would break my heart so much. I'd be so damaged I couldn't go and find somebody else. But I think there's a lot of people out there who seek comfort in that relationship. They can't be alone. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe the getting married 4 times is like that girl in school that we all fancied who would never not be in a relationship. She always had a boyfriend. Always fucking had a boyfriend. Never short of having boyfriends. And guys enjoyed being her boyfriend. You know, that kind of girl. So maybe this is like an advanced version of it. That girl then grows up to be the girl that just loves to get married. It's like, yo, like, why? Why would you do that when clearly you're not good at it? You might be good at the beginning stages, but during it, you're definitely not. We saw those pictures. We saw so, and again, don't get me wrong. I think Ben Affleck in general is a very like dour person, right? He's sort of like the good looking version of fucking Eric Griffin in that regard. He's always fucking moody, but we saw so many clips of this guy, so many clips of Ben Affleck looking like he wanted to unalive himself, smoking outside of his doorstep, taking the longest, sweetest drag of that cigarette. Like, it brought him so much comfort. You know, sighing, dropping his shoulders. When I think Jennifer Lopez has this one image where one video where they're about to jump into their car and she expects him to open the door and she just stands there and he's like, do you know what I mean? Like the international like sign that all men understand, this woman's a fucking nightmare. And they go around the other side and it's like, bruh, I'm okay with her being a diva. Like, I don't mind Jennifer. Like, when those stories came out about J-Lo being a bitch and being very rude in person and stuff, I don't mind them. I like it. I like that she kind of acts how she looks. You know, you don't become J-Lo by being like a nice person. You become J-Lo by stepping over everybody in your fucking stiletto heels while you do fucking burpees. That's how you become J-Lo. I'm perfectly fine with that. Perfectly fine. But I also think if you're that person, you have to understand it's unlikely you're going to be good at marriage. It's unlikely you're going to be you're going to be somebody that somebody would describe as happy life, happy wife. No. Nobody's going to use that phrase, right? Or that saying in relation to you. Nobody will do that. Actually, nobody. So you're better off just like, you know, you're J-Lo. You're still easily one of the top 100 attractive women in the world. Why not just have like a series of like boy toys that you have fun with, and maybe like a couple of like older dudes with loads of cash in the bank that just fund your lifestyle or help you to just like not spend any money, and then just continue doing what you're doing. Because I think J-Lo now is like directing. She's kind of getting to that sort of world. Like, I think that sci-fi movie that came out recently, that one on Netflix, I didn't watch it, but it's one where she's like in some robot armor thing. I think she may have produced that. If that's the case and she was involved in it, bruh, why are you bothering getting married? Just be like one of these, like, you know, just be one of those older women artists who just do their own production thing on the side. You have some boy toys that you can fiddle around if you want some fun. Maybe even some girls if you're that way inclined. You got some older dudes from the Middle East who like you because you look like you could be from there. You could be from Oman, right? You could be from Uzbekistan. You could be from Puerto Rico. You know, you could be from anywhere and they love you. So just do that instead of getting married, because it makes no sense. It really does make no sense whatsoever. But I'm happy to see for once one of these Hollywood marriages where it just ends and there's no crazy prenup. There's no fucking going to court and also it's all madness. It's just nice and simple. We're both rich. We both had the best time. It didn't work out the way we wanted it to work out. Let's just call it quits and keep it moving. That's how it should be. But I maintain, not everybody needs to get married. It's really a fallacy. We've been sold. Maybe it's a disinfication of the world in general. I don't know. But either way, I think nowadays, there are some of us in life, and I think we know them in our circles, and some of us might even be those people. We're not even good boyfriends or girlfriends. We're not even good boyfriends or girlfriends. What makes you think you're going to be a good husband or a good wife? There are things even now, simple boyfriend, girlfriend things you're not doing to please your partner or to please your fucking spouse. And now you're going to want to go elevate it, take it to the next level and do a whole wedding and marriage thing. Bruh, maybe focus on being a good friend. Maybe focus on being a good son, a good brother, a good fucking colleague before you jump up and try and take somebody, you know, and try and fucking take someone's hand. Because I also don't believe in wasting people's time. I hate guys who waste people's time. Guys who waste girls' time just because they're not sure or because they don't want to be alone. That's also some fuckboy shit. Like, don't do that. You'd rather leave that person alone, let them find their Prince Charming who's going to want to, you know, dote over them and be that fucking perfect husband. If you're not ready for that sort of time, just sit on the sidelines. That's really it. That's what I think people should do. But again, will they? Probably not. And do I know anything? Of course, I know absolutely nothing. Let's continue. I was also thinking a little bit about the other day, about my little soliloquy, my little rant that I went on about money, because I've been thinking a lot about money. I've been thinking a lot about money in the context of my life and my upbringing and my goals and my aspirations when I was younger. When I was younger, like I said previously in a previous pod, I was obsessed. I was obsessed with being cool. I was obsessed with having a cool job. I was obsessed with everything that to do with cool. But unfortunately, once you get involved in that industry, design, photography, fashion, art, all this sort of stuff, most of those jobs aren't very well paid unless you get to the top echelons. But when you get into it, the entry, mid-level jobs aren't the most well paid. What they do have is good lifestyle benefits. You get to go to galas, right? You get to go to symposiums. You get to go to exhibitions. You get to go to fashion weeks. You get to travel the world. Like the previous job I had at this company called Massive, where I was like I curated this like online learning course for streetwear designers. I did it with some other guy called Darius as well. We co-produced the course. We wrote the whole syllabus around it. I booked all the major fucking guests and lecturers and shit. It was a pretty cool little course that we did. I probably traveled the most I've ever traveled in my life during that fucking job. I was able to use a company card and go to Paris, New York, LA, Mexico City, blah, 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 all these different places, Berlin, all these fucking crazy places I was able to go to, right? All in the company docket. And it was pretty fun, pretty cool. but the pay wasn't great. I had all those kind of lifestyle things. You could expend things. You could take the company card. You were always like, even that, I was like working remotely, working from home before that became like popularized really. You get a fucking MacBook Air you can hold under your arm. You know, you get to hang around. You get to go to fucking WeWork and work out there. You get to just be around town and look all cool and shit, but the money ain't great. And then the older you get, you start to realize, especially someone like myself, I really care and love the industry and the scene that I'm a part of, but I really love it to its core. I don't need to work in it to love it. I'm more than happy to be a very enthusiastic fan from the outside. I think I'm the same when it comes to techno and all that sort of shit. As much as I want to become, and I will become a professional DJ in some regard, I'm not really bothered about being a part of the scene or being, you know, being an insider and shit. I'm more than happy just to be like a very enthusiastic fan who talks, you know, endlessly about Berghain and Berlin and Fold and all these amazing techno clubs and does techno tourism and fucking shouts from the rooftops about the importance of going to clubs and covering your phone camera and blah, 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 blah. I'm more than happy to do that. But there does reach a point in your life where money becomes important because, you know, you need money to live. And I was saying the other day that it's probably important for people, especially for kids coming up, to focus on working a 9 to 5 that just makes good money and then using that money to then fund your extracurricular skills or your extracurricular activities and your side projects that you do from like 7 till 12 when you get back home. That's what you should be doing. But having thought about it a little bit more and having thought about and kind of meditated on this Anna Khachiyan tweet, which I screenshotted, big up Anna Khachiyan from Red Scare, it also made me think again about it, where she says the following: money won't make you happy. Actually, yeah, it will. The thing that I was thinking about this quote and why I think this is important is that as much as what I was saying was maybe true, I think what I should probably emphasize is that whatever job you have, it's not important that it makes you money and makes you a lot of money. What's important is that it allows you to do things that you enjoy. That's the thing that I was missing. Because I think that's way more of a fruitful life. Because I think we've all realized, I think post-pandemic, we've all realized that the game is rigged. During the pandemic, the richest people in the world made the most money. Whether it's a person that owns Amazon, whether it's a person that owns the social media platforms, whether it's a person that owns the fucking delivery apps, everybody that owns those type of companies and those startups and those things that are now utilities for everyday lives, those are the ones that became the richest. The people who are able to fucking, you know, put money behind like PPE stuff and stuff, face mask, and, you know, the people that were importing fucking hand sanitizers and all this malarkey, those are the ones who made the most money. So the rich became richer during a really dark time for all of us around the world, all of us regular quote-unquote people. I think what that made me realize, and should have made you realize, especially when we were in lockdown and we weren't allowed to go outside and we had to stand 6 feet apart from each other and we were only allowed to walk around parks and we had to carry coffee cups so we won't get arrested, all this sort of nonsense happening. The one thing that we all hoped for when the world would reopen, we wanted to see our friends again. We wanted to see our friends again. We wanted to see our family. We wanted to do all the things that we took for granted. And I think that's what you should do when you have a job. That's what you should do in life, because the game is rigged. It's unlikely any of us will become multi-millionaires in our lifetime, because the game is rigged in such a way that only the rich can really get rich. Even stuff like housing. Most of us are even priced out of the housing market. And for the most part, I think housing, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the only industries or only sectors that regular working class and middle class people can actually attain wealth. You can actually go from being like a fairly poverty stricken person, you get yourself on a property ladder, and now suddenly you're able to kind of, you know, flex your muscles a little bit and earn a little bit of money. Even though landlords have got like a bad name and bad reputation, that has been one of the only things that allow people from, you know, lower income levels to kind of rise up the ranks. But even that is out of reach now, because of housing prices, because of interest prices or interest rates, because of inability to get loans and whatever. It's all gone tits up. So there's way less options for you to become rich and famous nowadays, unless you hit a lick and become successful on social media. That happens, fair enough. But for the most part, we all have to kind of make do what we have, whether it's working in a shop, being a bartender, working as a delivery person, whatever. You have to make do what you have. So if that's the case, to make do what you have, make it work for how much you can make it work, which that means if you can, you know, squeeze a couple of working from home days, you do that. If that means you can have some favorable hours, you do that. And most importantly, making sure whatever you get paid from that work, you invest it or you spend it on the things that you like to do. Instead of trying to save it to get rich or whatever, which is unlikely to happen, or if you want to be really focused, you can do that whole like FIRE thing where you save a particular amount of your money and then you invest it into a stock market in order for you to make a certain amount of money that allows you to retire early. That requires a lot of like discipline and financial acumen that a lot of us don't have. So I think the majority of people should just focus on taking their paycheck and spending it on things that you enjoy doing. Whether that is buying another fucking game controller, whether that is buying another pair of trainers, going on holiday somewhere, going on the fucking piss on the weekend, whatever it is, you got to do it because the game is rigged, unfortunately. And that's unlikely you're going to be rich. So while you got the money, or while you got the ability to earn money and to make whatever money you're making, spend it doing the things that you love. That's the most important thing, as opposed to trying to look for jobs that pay the most. Because you look for jobs that pay the most, you'll be in a fucking never-ending hamster wheel. And also, sometimes it's not about how much money you make, it's about what you do with that money. I remember there was a time in my life where I was working like that. I think that might have been the first time I went from the shop floor to an office job. I just left the shop floor and went to the first office job. And I think I was making like 13 grand a year. And back then, I think after taxes and shit, I must have got like £902 in my account. And of that £902, I was paying like £600 in rent. And I still had to pay travel card fees. So it's like, by the end of the month, I was left with like £100. That's it. But legit, I can remember back then, I was also going on holiday a lot. I was going to festivals, I was going to gigs, I was going out, I was buying Drugas, I was drinking all the booze. So I figured it out somehow. So I was able to have my fun, even though I was making less. And now I'm making way more, but I'm not able to do all those things, you know? It's because I'm chasing some like phantom thing that isn't existing. But for the here and now, you got to take whatever you make and invest in the things that you love to do. Whether it's legitimately going out for grocery shopping sometimes and buying all the bougie stuff that you usually don't buy. That, in my opinion, is way more important, and it's way better way to kind of, you know, live a life worth living than chasing some crazy salary thing that probably isn't going to happen. But again, what do I know? What do I know? Absolutely nada. Talking about knowing nothing. Have you guys seen this article and this news story regarding Starbucks replacing their CEO? Pretty wild, right? So allegedly Starbucks sales have dipped, so much so it's made Starbucks glitterati, Starbucks board, Starbucks shareholders very nervous. So they're now looking at ways to try to get them back up again. So they thought, you know what, the first thing to go is the CEO. We need to change direction. Everything is going from there. And the real insight about it that I've been curious about is that allegedly the price of just the coffees is just too much now for people. Even the people who are addicted to Starbucks and shit, it's just gone up way too much. And it's just, you know, people nowadays, I guess, are basically saying, hey, I'd rather just make my coffee at home, especially with the proliferation of like, you know, Stanleys and all these sort of cups and shit people are using. I feel like nowadays, especially if I'm ever going on my morning commute to work and stuff, I think I'm not sure if you guys have realized the same thing, but I swear to God, I feel like maybe I'm noticing it more because I've got a Stanley, but I feel like nowadays I see way more people on the trains with their version of like a coffee cup, or sometimes I see a woman or a guy with an actual mug from home, or like a mug they travel with. They just drink it on the fucking platform. Then when the train comes, whatever left over they spill, and they put the rest they put the mug in their bag and probably go use it when they go to work. I see way more people doing it, and even at work sometimes the machine that we have, the coffee machine, it gets used way more than in the past. There's like a little queue forming around it. People actually going to actually make coffee. They're looking forward to go and make their coffee there. And I think a lot of workplaces, I remember I was working at some work, I forgot what workplace I was at. I think it might have been Verve, that ticketing company that went under. So fuck Verve, by the way. I think it's Pollen too. His name is Pollen. So fuck Pollen, and I hope their founders are drowning in some swimming pool somewhere. But this company that I used to work for called Pollen, they had a coffee machine actually in their office, like a proper one. Like I think it was a Lavazza, like an actual coffee machine that you get like a fucking coffee shop. So I'm sure a lot of companies have that too. So I'm sure those companies that had that are now having people just use those coffee machines and bring their own, like, I don't know, bring their own beans to grind. Because nowadays, there was actually some guy at work I used to work with who used to have like a machine that you grind beans with. It was like a little portable one. And I think it might have been USB powered. And you literally put the beans in there, you press it down. You just keep pressing the top until it grinds everything. So, and obviously there's that YouTuber guy. Who's that YouTuber guy? I think it's a white dude, really handsome dude with white hair, with those clear designer sunglasses, who's got a super popular coffee YouTube channel, and he gives people advice on what the best coffee is on the high street, what the best coffee beans are, how to roast your own coffee. Like, he goes super hard. So I'm sure there's a lot of coffee influencers who are probably pushing the message of like, yo, guys, you don't have to buy this shitty coffee from these stores. You can buy coffee from these places. You can import beans directly from fucking, you know, Bogota if you want. You don't have to fucking go and buy an overpriced coffee from these chain restaurants or these chain places. So that might be hurting them in the slightest. But let's actually check this article, courtesy of Sky News, that maybe it's going to give us more information about what's going on here. And then, of course, I'm going to opine as we continue. Starbucks has suddenly replaced its chief executive officer after the company suffered a bigger than ever expected sales drop. The coffee chain's board announced on Tuesday that Laxman Narasimha, how you say that? Laxman Narasimhan. Oh, I guess the person's Indian. Narasimham has departed the firm effective immediately. It comes following a mounting pressure and speculation over the future of Mr. Narasimhan, who had been at the role for a year and a half. That's a short time, innit? God damn, 1 year and a half and you already got fired. Yoish. Last month, the firm reported the global sales had fallen by 3% during its third quarter. Yo, you get fired for a sales drop of 3%. It's brutal at the top, innit? Because 3% doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm imagining the money's a lot though, isn't it? 3% probably doesn't sound like a lot in percentages, but I'm assuming the money that 3% represents is probably in the hundreds of millions. Along with the slumps in regions such as the US and Middle East, sales plunged by 14% in China. Okay, that's why he really got fired. He really got fired for that. 14% drop in China. You can't be having that. There's too many people in that place, or in that country, sorry, for you to have a 14% drop. Too many people commuting back and forth to work for you to have 40% drop. No, we can't be having that. This decline has been blamed on a combination of weaker demand amid price rises and a boycott related to the war in Gaza. Oh yeah, true. That's a good point. To be fair, I would argue that probably the price increase has more to do with people not buying their daily Starbucks as opposed to people who are protesting against the war in Gaza and screaming free Palestine. I don't think they've had that much of an impact, but I do think online especially there is a bad connotations around Starbucks. Whenever I see like a picture of like Kim Kardashian jumping out of her Cybertruck and going to a Starbucks, it always seems to be that way. I wonder if there's like a deal, because it always seems like whenever I see a picture of Kim Kardashian jumping out of her Cybertruck, she's always going to a Starbucks. I wonder if there's like if that's like a deal they've done all together. Well, regardless, when you read the comments, people are going ham on her. Oh my God, you're so greedy. Is there nothing you won't do for money? Think of the people in Gaza, blah, 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 blah. Like, they go hard. So there is probably a lot of like pressure on that side of things if you're a celebrity or an influencer not to be seen drinking Starbucks openly or talking about it as much as in the past. People before would be like creaming themselves over the menu changes and shit, but you don't really see a lot of like Starbucks fanaticism on the timeline as much as you did in the past. So maybe that did actually hurt them. Mr. Narasimhan, previously chief executive of the multinational food conglomerate Rickett, had been under scrutiny over his lack of experience in the restaurant sector. This guy actually looks like the presenter on ITV. The Narasimhan, I forgot his name. He looks like an ITV presenter, or no, a Channel 4 presenter. That's his name. He looks like the Channel 4 presenter. Maybe they're related. It continues, despite spending months studying Starbucks business, including training as a barista, rah, he even did Undercover Boss, you know. He even did Undercover Boss. Despite spending months studying Starbucks business, including training as a barista, he came under further pressure in May when his predecessor, Howard Schultz, published an open letter urging the chain to make improvements. There has been pressure from activist investors, Elliott Management, after it built a $2 billion stake and demanding changes in the firm. God damn it. The guy you replaced is telling you need to make changes. The investment company as part of your board is telling you need to make changes. He was getting pressure from all fronts. To be fair, it is kind of nice to see, because usually most of these corporations and companies, whenever they run into trouble, the first people to go are the people on the sales floor. Regular baristas, regular coffee shop people who are just, working a regular job for a minimum wage. Although I don't think that's true, because I think Starbucks has improved their hourly wage. Even here in the UK, I think you can basically get a Starbucks job for maybe £10, £11 an hour, which is pretty good. I think in the US it might even be 20. So the per hourly wage for Starbucks is a lot, but still, most of the time, whenever companies are, going through trouble and they have a sales dip, the first people to go are the ones that are lowest on the ladder. So it's quite nice to see a refreshing change where, no, they take out the head guy, the CEO, instead of going for the employees first. I'm sure the employees will get fired soon enough. We'll hear of like major cuts because that's usually the first thing CEOs come in and do. It's kind of like you streamline the business and you focus it. You streamline in all aspects. You shorten the menu, you streamline the staff, you automate some processes just to kind of get back into control, and then you kind of go from there. So I'm sure a lot of the employees have probably been told to don't make any plans. Like, don't plan a wedding, don't plan some backpacking trip through Southeast Asia because there might be some big changes coming. Melody Hobson, who has stepped down as chairman and lead at the company board as part of the shake-up, and admitted to CNBC that she had begun pushing to have Mr. Narasimhan replaced a couple months ago. Mr. Nicole, who has also held senior position at major US food brands such as Taco Bell and Pizza Hut, will become the chief executive officer on the 9th of September. And this Mr. Nicole guy, right? This guy here has probably one of the best deals you've ever heard in your entire life, right? Courtesy of the Financial Times. Look at this. Look at this. Have you heard of this? Look at this. Courtesy of Financial Times. Starbucks' new chief executive officer is awarded a $113 million pay deal and remote office in Newport Beach. Must be fucking nice, isn't it? That's what they're paying people at the very top. Which makes sense, because if he comes in and does what he thinks he's going to do and actually does steady the ship and get the brand back out where it's going to, they're going to make far more money than his $130 million pay deal. You know what I mean? And obviously, you'd imagine, too, there's incentive tied to his deal, too. So if the company does well, you do well. You get bonuses, all that malarkey. So as it continues here, it says, Starbucks has awarded its new chief executive officer, Brian Niccol, cash and stock potentially worth more than $100 million in one of the largest hiring packages in US corporate history, and 4 times larger than the sign-on deal offered to his ousted predecessor. That is crazy. So that deal basically says that they think this guy is 4 times better than his predecessor. He's 4 times better than Narasimhan. Woo! That's got to hurt the ego, innit? That's got to hurt the ego. The guy they're replacing you with is 4 times better than you. I've always wondered that myself, like, in job, because you never know in job interviews, right? When you go for a job interview, you never know if you're like one of the best candidates or one of the worst. You never know. You just go in and try and make a good impression. But I wonder how helpful it would be to know, and maybe to ease your ego and to kind of soothe your fucking dented pride, if you actually found out, nah, the person who actually got the job is like sick, They've got like 10 years experience, 5 in senior management. They've got, they know like 4 languages, blah, 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 blah. They live around the corner. I wonder if that would be helpful to a lot of us. If we actually found out, okay, cool, the reason why you didn't get this job is because the person that got it was like proper suited for the job, proper suited for it, and you actually were one of the least experienced for the role, but we gave you a chance because we thought your interview went well. I wonder how beneficial that would be. Or is it better just to not know and just to get an email that says, hey, after careful consideration, and after, or nowadays what they do when they send you an email, they send you like 4 paragraphs, like trying to make you feel better. And then by the end of it, it's like, we'll not be moving further with your fucking application. It's like, bro, I prefer when it's just like 1 line. Dear da-da-da-da, your application will not be moved forward. We will not move further with the application. Good luck on your fucking, or not even good luck, regards, and just move it. Because that whole thing about, we're going to keep your thing on file. Like, I wonder how many people actually out there in the world who've applied for a job, didn't get it, then got the email that said it didn't get the job, and that email said, we're going to keep your thing on file. I wonder how many people actually get contacted from that. I bet you 0. I bet you 0. 0 people in real life have actually ever been contacted again after a company initially rejected them and said, yeah, we had your thing on record. I just wanted to check. Are you still unemployed? Do you still need money? Are you still poor? You still need help? Continue. If paid out in full, the package revealed in a regulatory filing on Wednesday would make Niccol one of America's highest paid chief executives. The contract would be worth $130 million if he hits the target Starbucks has set out. Okay, cool. So it's $130 million, but I guess his base pay will probably be half, if not less than that. So he has a lot to do to make up the difference. But there's a lot of incentive there, you know? That's real incentive. Like, if you need someone to work hard, if you need someone to bust their ass, if you need someone to try every and anything under the sun to steady the ship, offer them 130 million, potentially, as a salary. Forget even like stocks and shit. This is a salary. Like, god damn. Starbucks named Nicole as its fourth boss. Wow. This is bad turnover, innit? Starbucks named Nicole as its fourth boss in less than 3 years on Tuesday after the surprise ousting of Chief Executive Laxman Narasimhan, the former Ricket and Bigkister Chief Executive. Nicole will arrive at Starbucks next month from burrito chain Chipotle Mexican Grill, where since 2018 he had led a revival in his business and reputation after a series of food safety scares. Shares of Chipotle gained almost 800% during his term. Oh yeah, that's true. A lot of people were saying bad things about Chipotle, innit? They were getting like sick. Or I guess there's a standard narrative with Chipotle. If you order too much, or if you mix shit and stuff, you end up getting sick, or you need to take, or you get the shits and stuff. So he did actually help. Okay, because now you don't hear people talk about that too much. So maybe this is the right person for the job, especially considering his CV. To start, Nicole will receive $10 million cash bonus upfront and another $75 million in equity grants designed to pay out over time to compensate him for bonuses and unvested stock he left behind at Chipotle. Wow. At that level, you get money for stock you left behind. Like, wow. At that high level, you can make any demand, innit? Any demand. Annually, Nicole will earn $1.6 million in salary, plus a target bonus worth more than $3.6 million, depending on how Starbucks performs. This is in addition to a long-term equity grant and an annual target value of $23 million to be paid out. The quote, the Starbucks board willingness to pay such a high price is testament that the faith they have in Nicole, said Ben Silverman, the vice president of research at Verity, an analytics firm. But he's going to have to prove that he's worth it because his annual compensation is almost 75% higher than that of his predecessor. Last year's Nicole total pay at Chipotle was $22.5 million, while the value of his unrealized gains from the past equity incentive grants was more than $82 million. The package from Starbucks comes with an unusual perk. Nicole would not be required to move to Seattle headquarters. According to the filing, instead the company will establish a small remote office in Newport Beach, California, the city in which Nicole has moved Chipotle headquarters from Denver, plus pay for his assistant of his choosing. Yo, they're gonna build him his own office. They're gonna build him his own office, or hire, or whatever, rent whatever, an office for him in a place that he only moved to because of his previous job. It's not even like that's his like family place that he lives at. He only lived there because the other company he was working at, Chipotle, had headquarters there. That's a crazy, crazy sick move. He's like, look, I've actually kind of like this area now. I only came here for Chipotle, but I'm actually starting to fall in love with the area. I've joined the local golf club. My wife has got, has got like a nice community of friends here. I'd rather not leave. So they're going to build him another office. And he gets to pick the assistant of his choosing. That assistant, that's like a good job too, by the way. That's a fucking good job. Remote working for this guy in whatever, where's the place at? In Seattle. Like, oh, what a fucking gig. Only 5 other executives were awarded that pay package worth more than $100 million in 2023, according to a joint report by Equala, a pay data company. The largest US companies' revenue, such as contracts, Nicole's target annual remuneration. So, with all that being said, the hardest thing about this for me is what he does. What do you do? Because if you believe the narrative out there that people aren't going to Starbucks because it's too expensive, what do you do? Do you simplify the menu, even though part of Starbucks' appeal is the customization? Part of the reason why we love it is because you can go in there and ask for whatever milk you want, whatever sugar you want, however much amount of water, ice, whatever. You can customize your drink to your heart's content. Probably the customization options are limitless to a certain extent. So that's one of your strengths. But I would imagine because a barista has to make it, and there's no automated process, it probably takes too much time to make everyone's drink. And it probably increases when the Starbucks is at a very popular place when it's in somewhere next to like the Starbucks I used to always pass was the one in Liverpool Street. That's the one I probably went to the most, the one in Liverpool Street or the one in Old Street. And those ones are like in areas where there's a lot of like office buildings and shit. The one in Old Street is known as like Silicon Roundabout. It's like, it's a bit naff, but that's where a lot of startups are. The one in Liverpool Street is next to like the financial area of most of London, especially the cool side of things. So those Starbucks probably have the most foot traffic, but they also take longer to make drinks because there's so many people coming in and they all have their own. I'd imagine too, the more affluent the area, this is my, again, I'm throwing shit out the wall that I don't know anything about, but I would imagine the more where Starbucks are, if the more affluent an area Starbucks is in, the more likelihood there are to like have crazy combinations and very specific things, you know? So you have coffee shops in places where people demand a certain level of specificity. If you fuck it up, they're gonna vote with their feet and go somewhere else. So there's a lot of pressure on the baristas to make sure they get the drinks right. But you know, simplicity does breed consistency in some respect. So if you do simplify the menu, if you do take away a lot of the options and you limit it to like certain things, and maybe you kind of like have options be like milk or something only, or maybe sugars, and that's maybe it, and you get rid of all the other fruity drinks and shit, maybe that simplification will help it. Because I have to be honest, someone like myself who gets paralyzed, I suffer from paralysis by analysis, and I don't like too many options. That's why I'm probably quite regimented, and I have I love to have a routine. I love to have like structure behind the things that I do and stuff. I don't like to have an endless list of options. I have to be honest, every time I go to a Starbucks, I get kind of overwhelmed. That's probably the reason why when I used to buy coffees from coffee shops, I'd opt to go to a Pret-a-Manger, because a Pret-a-Manger for me is a bit simple, right? It's either a filter coffee or the nicer coffee or the Americano. There's no like millions of different options and milks and shit. It's pretty basic what you want. Do you want the cheap coffee, or do you want the fucking good coffee, or the decent enough coffee? And that's basically it. And I think that simplification will make things far better going forward. But again, you're probably going to lose a lot of customers, because a lot of those girls who like to drink their Starbucks kind of prefer it when they have unlimited options, because it makes them feel special. That's probably part of the reason. So this guy has a lot of pressure on his head, has a lot of things to ruminate over. Will Starbucks in the future have what McDonald's have? My local McDonald's, and I'm sure most McDonald's around the world, have those massive screens, right? They have those massive flipping screens where you order most of your food at. And in the McDonald's near me, they only have like one till. They actually have only one till you can kind of order from, but the rest of it is made up of those screens that you kind of press a button for, and obviously you wait for your number to get called out, then they give you your food. So I wonder, will Starbucks do something like that in the future? Will there be loads of screens in Starbucks? Who flipping knows? Either way, it's going to be a fucking crazy time. But I am happy to see, I'm not going to lie, because I remember back in the day when I used to go to work and shit and I'd be commuting, I always get kind of annoyed when I'd see people like going to work and they'd be carrying their little fucking Starbucks cup, shaking like a little crack addict. And I'd be like, bruh, honestly, you could do yourself a big favor and actually get the day started off pretty well if you did decide to wake up maybe an hour, half an hour, a little bit earlier for work, and make yourself a little coffee. Have a sit down on your chair, you know, browse social media on your phone, maybe open up the news app, maybe open a newspaper, maybe watch a YouTube video, maybe just sit there in silence and drink your fucking coffee and then go, as opposed to like doing everything on the go. Everything has to be in a hurry. You have to carry like a transportable coffee cup. You have to carry transportable lunch fucking containers. Like, you can't just sit and relax. I hate that shit. So I'm actually happy that most people now are starting to make the coffee at home, because it means there's a lot more of us who are enjoying drinking our coffees at home, drinking them outside on the porch, drinking them on our balcony, or just having some fun and just drinking it, you know, looking out the window and fucking, you know, being a fucking curtain twitcher. I think that's a far better way to go. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nothing. What do I know? Absolutely bloody nothing. That's all I know. Absolutely nothing, okay? I'm sure some of you guys are aware I know nothing, but I'm just letting you guys know that I know absolutely nothing. Talking about know nothing, is anybody else fed up? Is anybody else fed up? Is anybody else fed up to the core of this particular word? Because I swear to God, if I hear one more person in the world utter this bloody word, I'm going to flip my bloody lid.
You see how I do my makeup for work? very demure, very mindful. I don't come to work with a green cut crease. I don't look like a clown when I go to work. I don't do too much. I'm very mindful while I'm at work. See how I look very presentable? The way I came to the interview is the way I go to the job. A lot of you girls go to the interview looking like Marge Simpson and go to the job looking like Patty and Selma. Not demure. I'm very modest. I'm very mindful. You see my shirt? Only a little chichi out, not my chocho. Be mindful of why they hired you. Here's your reality check, diva. What's the name you'd like me to make it out to? You see how I do my makeup for work? Very demure, very mindful. I don't come to work with a green cut crease. I don't look like a clown when I go to work. I don't do too much. I'm very mindful while I'm at work. See how I look very presentable? The way I came to the interview is the way I go to the job. A lot of you girls go to the interview looking like Marge Simpson and go to the job looking like Patty and Selma. Not demure. I'm very modest. I'm very mindful. You see my shirt? Only a little chichi out, not my chocho. Be mindful of why they hired you. Here's your reality check, diva. What's the name you'd like me to make it out to?
So I'm fed up of the word demure already. The story of it is pretty nice. It's pretty inspirational. It's pretty heartwarming. This particular person had become viral on TikTok for using this word demure. I guess it's maybe a reaction to maybe Brat Summer, because Brat is all about being loud and garish and out there and just, you know, indulging in all your inhibitions and putting your tatas out there and your VJ out there, sucking and fucking sniffing, whoring all around the world. Have a good fun. So maybe demure is like a reaction to it. It's almost like a synthesized version, a rounding up of like quiet luxury, right? Remember when everyone was talking about quiet luxury, which just basically meant wearing expensive clothes, but just in like, you know, monotone colors. Maybe demure kind of synthesizes that into one word. So I understand why people are like gravitating towards it, because everything is garish, everything is 2000 era coded, Von Dutch, bedazzlements, short skirts, shiny belts, shiny shoes, big pants. Like, everything is loud, right? Everything is loud. So demure is thingy. And I also like the fact that the person who's saying demure is not very demure. This person's not very petite. So that's where it makes it funny, right? And it's like a very kind of sarcastic, dry cadence about it. The person themselves is big as fuck. So that kind of adds to the kind of laughability and humor of it. The funny side of the story is that when you scratch underneath the surface, you find out that this person's going through a transition, getting some, you know, gender reassignment surgery and whatever it may be. And through this little skit and through this sketch, through this persona, through a social media account, this person's been able to afford the surgery that's going to allow them to be themselves. Amazing. Great to see. Round of applause. But the annoying thing about it is that this word has now been bastardized and destroyed so much. It's been destroyed and bastardized so bloody much that now that I'm fucking over it. I'm absolutely over the word and I don't want to hear it anymore. And that's the really sad thing. The woman didn't get even a chance to really enjoy to just enjoy the feeling around it and everybody kind of hyping it up, because now look at what we have. Look at the person we have. Look at the person we have now in media who's flipping using that word. This person could not be further from demure, and it's gone so quick, and it feels like it only started the other day. It feels like it started like, I don't know, maybe like 2 weeks ago, or maybe at most a month ago, but already the word has been bastardized, has been rinsed, has been beat like a dead horse, and I'm over it.
See how I do this? I drink from the bottle, very demure.
Look at that. You got J-Lo, one of the most, again, I love J-Lo. She got some good tunes. She's a decent enough actress, but she's not very cool. I wouldn't say J-Lo's cool. And now you have one of the most uncoolest people in the world using the word. It's over. It's over.
See how I do this? I drink from the bottle, very demure. Very mindful. I will just chug it. I just don't.
She's so rich, right? Jennifer Lopez is so rich. She's so bougie. She's such a diva. Even the way she drinks water or juice out of a bottle doesn't look natural. She probably has never drunken a drink. She probably hasn't drunk a drink out of a bottle in maybe more than a decade, even more. Everything she drinks is out of a flute, a glass, a straw, something. Or maybe she gets, you know, her booze fucking injected into her like an IV. but she's never probably had to open her own bottle like you and I pause and have to chug a fucking Coca-Cola on the way to work. She doesn't do that. Look how she's fucking drinking the water. That's somebody, or the juice, sorry, that's somebody who hasn't drunk out of a bottle in a very, very, very long time. You know? She doesn't fucking drink out of a bottle. She drinks using maybe some like Hermes straw or like a Tiffany straw. That's what she's got. She's got a Tiffany straw or a Swarovski straw, right? Or a Mugler straw, right? That's what she's got at home. Or a Bulgari straw. There's no way that she's strawing. No way that she's drinking out of some regular fucking straw. Definitely not a paper straw, by the way, because she don't care about the environment. She cares about Gaza, thank God, but she doesn't care about the environment. One more time.
See how I do this when I drink from the bottle? Very demure.
We have all the flavors.
Very mindful. I would just chug it. I just don't, just like all the way down, just little by little. Very elegant, swelling, demure, mindful.
So weird, isn't it? So weird how quickly this word has been destroyed, bastardized, and devoured. And there's even an article about it in the New York Times. Just how demure are you? A TikTok trend has birthed a new life into a fusty word. Let's read the article. If you opened TikTok this week and felt that suddenly everyone was using the word demure out of nowhere, you're not alone. It took 1 week for this to blow up. 1 week. This is, again, further proof that most of us won't become rich. But if you do want to become rich, the best way to do it nowadays, not to get a property ladder because it's too expensive. The best way to become rich nowadays, the best way to become rich and to quit your 9 to 5 is to become a star on social media. But to become a star on social media, you have to record yourself. You have to put yourself online, which most people probably aren't comfortable with. Because you open yourself up to like scrutiny and just people looking at you a certain way. So it takes a lot of courage to do so. And also there's no guarantee it's going to work. There are plenty of people out there recording fucking videos, dancing in front of a Tesco's, and no one's fucking watching them. So there's that pressure. But it actually is a good way to kind of go from, you know, poverty stricken to financially comfortable. So let's actually read the article. Your morning coffee with just a little half and half, demure. The way you sit down gracefully on the subway, very demure. The way you floss your teeth after lunch in the office bathroom before returning to your cubicle, absolutely, totally demure. Seemingly overnight, an adjective usually reserved for a reserved woman has become the semi-ironic word du jour on social media. On August 2nd, a TikTok creator who goes by the name Jules LeBron, which is funny because people were assuming incorrectly that LeBron James was using the word, but it actually was a transgender person called Jules LeBron. Fucking hilarious. Posted a video with tips about managing makeup and mustache sweat and being demure. Later that day, she posted another video which has been viewed 4 million times, offering tips on how to be demure at work. Very demure, very mindful, she says, explaining her perfume, clothing, and hairstyle choices for the workplace. Miss LeBron has since posted dozens more of videos discussing how to be demure in all sorts of situations, like nail salons, hotels, and drag shows. Miss LeBron, who did not respond to requests for comment, well done, by the way, Miss LeBron. Well done. Don't ever talk to these fucking publications. Just do your thing. Don't go on record for nothing. Do your thing. Work up to a fucking heaven. Marc Jacobs collab. Vetements. Saint Laurent. I don't know whoever else. Elena Velez. One of these kind of, you know, party girl kind of brands. Even more is probably low, too low. You know, there's brands you can aim for. Go, you know, get an editorial in Interview magazine. Do a spread in Perfect magazine. That's what you should be aiming for. Don't give your comment willy-nilly to fucking New York Times. Fuck that shit. Never respond to comment. Never ever respond to comments. So big up Mr. Bron, who did not respond to comment, is one of the several trans creators on TikTok who use playfully the word demure in recent videos has helped the word to catch on with other users. There has been so many demure divas who have come before me, says Mr. Bron, said in a video naming 2 fellow content creators, as well as Venus Extravaganza, a trans performer who featured prominently in influential documentary Paris is Burning. On TikTok, the word is spread far beyond its original roots, for the viral term has become a fodder for brands like the restaurant chain Chili's and the New York City Department of Sanitation, which posted Instagram where the city's new official garbage bins were, you know what, demure. Members of the Styles desk gathered to discuss how anyone and everyone, it seems, can be demure. Madison Malon Kircher. Let's start with the big question in everyone's mind. What exactly does demure mean to the comment? What does demure mean in the moment? This person says, every few weeks, a new word starts getting repeated ad nauseum online in ways that only a sort of relate to its original definition. Last week, the word was brat. This week is basically the exact opposite. It's demure. which I think is nice in terms of just thinking about stuff, right? Like the word brat did mean one thing, because I think nowadays there's probably people online who are probably way too old to be using the word brat. You know, you got kids, you got responsibilities, you have pets, you look after family members who are ill. You probably are never gonna have a brat summer ever again in your life. Your brat era is left. But it is nice to live vicariously through someone like a Charlie XCX and the girls in and around her. But you're too old for that, so leave that alone. So maybe you should be saying the word demure, because that does represent or reflect where you are in life more. But I still think there's a utility, there's a benefit to just not partaking in any of this shit. Just seeing it and just continue scrolling by it. Because none of this shit pays for anything in your life. None of this shit puts a roof over your head. None of this shit puts food in your belly. None of this shit keeps you warm. None of this shit does anything really in life. It's just a distraction from the actual things that are going on in the world you have to pay attention to. Because who gives a fuck about Demure? Who gives a fuck about the creator? No one, really, in the grand scheme of things. And outside of this little social media bubble, like I guarantee, if you went to somebody at work that you worked with, or you just asked a stranger on the fucking, you know, on the train or the bus on the way to work, hey, have you heard of this whole Demure thing? Most people will say no. It's honestly such a niche internet thing, but it sounds so loud to all of us because we keep seeing it on our feed, because we follow the same type of person, but just they live in different places and have different skin tone colors and shit and whatever. But they're the same person, so they all regurgitate the same news. So they all keep getting fed the same shit, and we think everyone is saying it. It's like, everyone isn't saying it. This is really niche news that most people don't give a fucking fuck about. And I'm actually angry. The more that I'm covering this, the more that I'm talking about this, I'm getting pissed off. It's filling me with red because I shouldn't even know about this, but I'm online so much. I'm terminally online. I get fucking assaulted with news that I shouldn't be assaulted with. But it's my fault. As the Jocko Willink book title says, extreme ownership. I take ownership that I'm exposing myself to these bits of information. So I can't be mad at Jules LeBron. I can't be mad at the other demure divas out there, the DDs. I can't be mad at them for doing what they're doing. I shouldn't know. They should do what they do, and we should go that way. But here we are. Another person says, someone who is demure is typically... Yo, don't tell me the definition of demure. I'm not dumb. I graduated high school. I know what the fucking word means. Skip. I've also seen people use the word to describe manners, their cleaning habits, and setting boundaries with people. This I champion. Because I'm not sure about you, but the more I've been on social media and the more that I started to listen to what people say, and I started to follow certain content creators, certain commenters, I started to see and notice a lot of people don't shower or bathe. I was listening to an interview recently the other day with the artist BD, how do you pronounce her name? Bidobide, the fucking Filipino hot girl that everyone kind of likes. This girl. I was listening to an interview of this young lady called Biba right? Biba Doobie, this little indie singer who everybody's a fan of. And she was talking in an interview, and I swear to God, she mentioned that she showers a few times a week. And I think the interview even asked something like, but yeah, you remove your makeup every day though, right? Like, and it was like, she wasn't really clear. I was like, bro, even all these young starlets nowadays, like, it's just become like a trend. People just don't shower that much. So there are people out there who aren't cleaning their pussies on a daily basis, aren't cleaning under their armpits, aren't cleaning behind their fucking knees, but they're successful, well-regarded, super attractive, popular, cool artists. I'm like, you know what? Maybe if this word has a utility in culture, maybe if it forces people to actually embody demure, because it's same with brat. When brat was the word, everyone was embracing the brat. Everyone was embracing the hedonistic, garbage, indie sleaze side of themselves. So maybe if this demure word becomes popular and people start to use it in their everyday lexicon, maybe it will encourage people to fucking jump in the shower and wash their fucking pussies. Because as a girl, showering a few times a week is inexcusable. It's inexcusable for guys. But I did remember seeing a quote from somebody. I forgot where it was. It might have been on social media. I remember seeing a quote from somebody where they said something like, if you speak to nurses, correctional officers who worked in prisons, they all say they prefer to work in men's prisons and women's prisons. They all say women's prisons smell crazy. Correctional officers, guards, nurses all say working in a women's prison will make you nauseous. Allegedly, women's hygiene overall is worse than boys. It doesn't seem like that because girls always talk about how guys are stinky and guys can be stinky. But allegedly, men's prisons are way cleaner. The guys in there are way cleaner, or, have better hygiene, have better hygiene, whatever, than the women do. So maybe this is what we're seeing. But I remember looking at us thinking, this girl's like 20-something, young, popping, doing her thing. She's like, yeah, I shower a few times a week. A few times a week? Are you sure? God almighty. So maybe we should be happy that Demure is coming back and becoming like a big word, because maybe it'll encourage people to start fucking showering. Another one says, someone who is mindful, perhaps even cutesy. Some of these terms bring to mind another word, which is wholesome. What makes something demure versus wholesome? Wholesome. Yeah, I guess wholesome is like the straight version of demure, isn't it? Right? The gays have demure, the straights have wholesome. Maybe that's what it's it. But either way, I'm happy for the creator, Jules LeBron. Really happy for them because, again, like I said, inspiring, motivating, heartwarming story. But I'm fucking over the word. I want it to die. I want it to die. I want it to die, 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 die. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nothing. So, I was thinking the other day that very soon, it will be the Boiler Room London Festival, right? I think it's this weekend, actually. August 20th. Yeah, it is. August 25th. Boiler Room London event is happening. And I said I was actually going to go. I'm still not too sure because I think that weekend is like bank holiday weekend. There's carnival happening, all these different events. It's just going to be loads of people outside. Everybody stepping all over each other and shit. It's just fucking annoying and a little bit, it's a little bit much for me. A little bit overwhelming for my little body. But I'm thinking of going because the lineup is something crazy. When you zoom into a lineup, there's a lot of people here I'd like to see. Gigs, you got a Screaming Benga set. Flowdown, big up Flowdown. I think he might be the first person to win a Grammy from the borough of Newham, which I live in. So big up fucking Flowdown. I'm not sure if that's true, but I think Flowdown might be the first Grammy winner from Newham. So big up Flowdown and big up Fred again for, helping him or putting him on a tune that let him win the Grammy as well. That's why I'll protect Fred again until the end. Even though he's corny and he makes pretty shit music, I'll protect him on the online and be a fucking Fred again defender because he gave Flowdown a Grammy. You got Flowdown. Who else is there? Rosie God, I don't know who that is. You got Disclosure playing. Amphia playing. Big up Lolo. She's playing there. You got Marlon Hofstad playing. His name is Marlon Hofstad, aka DJ Daddy Trance. Ugh. Again, I don't have to put stuff out about people, but don't be surprised if you hear a story about that Marlon Hofstad guy. His face is too happy, and that name is a bit too PDF-y. His face is too happy. He looks too nice and too cheery, and that DJ name, that fucking pseudonym, DJ Daddy Trance. Don't be surprised if you hear some diddling accusations about that guy. That sounds a little bit suspect. I'm not gonna lie. You got Danilo Pleslow, MCDE, Moso Jumble Sumble. I'm really happy to. That's one I might want to see. I might want to see MCDE. Motor City Drum Ensemble is such a good DJ. He doesn't get the love and hype he deserves because if I remember correctly, I think it was during the George Floyd riots or something, or maybe it was before when everyone was doing the Black Square. But there was a time during dance music during the lockdown where people were saying, everyone had to change their names. And I think a lot of people online made the Black Madonna change her name. She changed it to Blessed Madonna. I think they made some other person who had I think the Detroit Swindle. I think he had to change his name. And I think MCDE also changed his name. Because originally his name was Motor City Drum Ensemble, which I guess is a nod to Detroit. And obviously the house of techno scene that started from there. And because he's white, people didn't like that he had that name. So then he had to abbreviate it and say MCDE, or he go by his birth name, which is Daniel Pleslow. It's a bit of a shame because Motor City Drum Ensemble is a fucking sick name for a DJ. Like, so big up him. You got Bradley Zero, not really the biggest fan of him, to be honest. I think he's very, very overrated. Optima playing, I like him. Mr. Scruff, I like. And then going down here, oh, you got Sarah Landry. No wonder I wanted to go, because I was curious to see her play, right? Yeah. So there's a Teletech room that features Sarah Landry, I Hate Models, Frank, however amount of nines that is, Ellie Akula. How many nines are there in that 9-person's music, in that 9-person's name? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 nines in their name. So I guess you say 9 times or 9x. Let's do 9 times. 9 times playing Ellie Akula and Ida Arco. So that might be a good one to check out, just because I'm really curious to see what these motherfuckers are like in real life. Oh, and there's a Victory Lap room as well. Len is performing. That might be a big vibe, you know. Len's performing live. I would like to see him perform live and see what I go on for his tunes live and direct. So that might be a choice to go to. And plus, it's a daytime event. So even though it's on the 25th, it is from 12 to 10. So, you know, don't have to stay out too long. Can rave, can boogie, can do your thing. So I'm going to have to look at that. It's on a Sunday as well, which might be a bit of a vibe, because I think Carnival Kids is on Sunday. So effectively, I can still kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I could go Carnival and do the oots, oots, oots with all the whites. And then I can go to Carnival. No, I could do the Boiler Room London Festival on the Sunday with my fellow whites and the oots, oots, oots crowd. And then on the Monday, I can go with the blacks and the niggers and drink my magnums and my fucking, you know, super malts and shit, and catch a wine and have a bit of jerk chicken and, you know, rice and peas. That could be the way to go forward. But let's see how much tickets are. I bet tickets are like £100 or something. How much are tickets? Actually, I think I got the Boiler Room, the Resident Advisor event link here. Oh, there's no ticket. Okay, how much are tickets? I wonder how much tickets are. I bet you tickets are like £60 for the day. Let's see what they're saying. Or is it like a DICE ticket event? Maybe it's a DICE thing. So it won't show me. Let's see it. Let's see what they say about tickets. Is it a DICE ticket event? I think it might be. Yeah, it's a DICE event. Oh, £39. God damn. It's a lot. It's a lot. You see a lot for the price though. $39.56. Ticket starts at that price. I guess they're sold out for now, or maybe they're gonna come later. Let's see if it loads up. But $39.56 is a lot of money, bro. God damn it. Honestly, events in London are no joke, innit? Just stepping out of your house, you know, like Wings of Redemption says, you're spending £100 anyway. But going to an event, you basically have to spend like 200. You know, buy tickets and everything else is fucking a lot of money. Let's see how many tiers they got. I guess there's going to be one ticket that means you have to get there before 1 p.m. or some shit. Yeah, exactly. You see? Look at that shit. Look at those tickets, man. That's a piss take. Look at that. Oh my God. Look at that. I don't know. That's a bit weird though, isn't it? Right? So there's a ticket entry here that says you have to get in before 1:30, which is priced at £52.06. But there's another ticket price that says you have to get in before 2 p.m. that only is $39.56. Shouldn't be the other way around. I don't know. Either way, very expensive. Basically you can pay up to £100 if you want to, but I'm gonna do what I usually do when it comes to these sort of events. I'm gonna wait last minute and I'm gonna go ticket swap, because people love to flake on these type of events. People love to fucking flake. So for sure, if I go actually on ticket swap now on my phone, I bet you I'll see tickets here listed by people who just decide to flop last minute. Because just like I am a bit of a flop when it comes to meeting and going out of my house and shit, I'm sure there's plenty of people here who also love to flop and not turn up to events. So let me check out and say Boiler Room London. I bet you there are people here selling tickets. Let's see what they're saying. Oh, actually, no, okay, no tickets available just yet. Okay, there's 89 people wanting tickets though, and it's all on wait list too. So I'm not the only one waiting, because look, they're all on wait list apart from the one for 6 p.m. They're all on fucking wait list. So there's a lot of people, I guess, demanding or looking for tickets. So it's going to be a good one. I think that might be a good thing to check out. So I'm eager to see Wild One for that when it does eventually happen. So big up Boiler Room for that one. As you can see there, Boiler Room London Festival happening this weekend. Then on the flip side of things, we have this event, courtesy of Fold. Big up Fold. This is a big one. Big one. So this is happening on the 5th of October. On the 5th of October, a very special Fold extended. I'm still a bit pissed off that the whole like premise of Fold opening was that it was going to be the first 24-hour nightclub. And because it's in Canning Town, a place that I basically grew up in, my literal mum still lives around the corner and shit. I go there all the time. I assume they would have got away with it because Canning Town's not really like a, I wouldn't say it's high. It's not like a densely residential populated area. And there's places, especially where Fold is, which is on the other side of the tracks, near to all the like postal areas and some of the garages and shit, bus garages, all these other things. You could effectively have a club there and you could crank up the volume and go crazy because there's not a lot of like residential areas around. And a lot of councils in London, they are the ones that kind of determine how long clubs can open for, because if they're near residential areas, the local neighbors and whatever complain, and they usually get restrictions put on clubs and told them they have to lower the sound, they have to put the sound at a certain decibel. They usually come in and install like a limiter on the actual sound system, or if it goes over, you get fined, or worst comes to worst, they'll take away your late license. So I did think, I had aspiration, I had hope that when the initial press release went out about Fold, that they were going to follow through with that 24-hour club thing, but it didn't happen. So now they have these licenses, which extended hours, which I think they can go on until like 12, I think, in the afternoon, which is decent, but I still would have preferred that 24-hour thing so that you could effectively go to Fold from like Friday to Sunday-ish. That would be fucking sick, but it's not the case, so we have to kind of make do what we have. Short in to go, conclusion here. Fold and Mala Junta extended fucking set. Or extended night on the 5th of October. Berlin serial rule breakers are back. It's a bit cringy, by the way. Rule breakers, I don't know what that means. There's no way to write dance music blurb without sounding cringe in it. Berlin serial rule breakers. Like, ugh. And this time they are wrecking twice the amount of havoc. Oh, come on, bro. Wrecking havoc, pressing Q and play. Like, we're just mixing, bro. This is a nightclub. You know, there's no wreaking havoc here. The only thing people are wreaking havoc is in the toilets when they do their fucking coke, ketamine, or GHB fucking shits. That's when you're wreaking havoc. No one's wreaking havoc behind the decks. You know what I mean? After 3 encounters that tore up our history books, Europe's chief orchestrators of chaos return on Saturday, the 5th of October, with a 14-hour extended takeover of our entire venue. You know what's really funny? I was just thinking about this aloud. Mala Junta's kind of taken over Heron Sauna, isn't it? Heron Sauna was like the big, cool, kind of like party collective or crew in general. But I feel like Heron Sauna's kind of taken over. I feel like Mala Junta's taken over from them. I wonder why. I wonder what happened to Heron Sauna. Did Heron Sauna like purposely take a step back and not want to be all out there and shit? Like, I wonder what like caused them to not be the premier or the go-to like cool collective, because I feel like Mala Junta's definitely taken over. But the list of people playing, you got Amphia, Cosmic, D.I.E, my guy who I love, Gloria Rose, Raw Ting, Rini DJ, the most important person on the list here, Renee Wise playing. In that fucking full space again, it's gonna be fucking incredible. You got River back to back to Tikra, you got Tedesco, you got Voice showing back to back with James Newmarsh, you got YB, you got Yazza's playing, who I'm a big fan of, DJ Tool, who I fucking love, from fucking Mala Junta. That is a sick lineup, bro. That is a crazy, crazy good lineup. Look at that fucking lineup. That's a one to go to for sure. I've definitely got my eyes on that. I think October is also the time going forward. I might be at Open Ground over there in Germany and shit. So I might have to kind of plan this in advance or whatnot and figure out what days I want to go. But that is a crazy lineup. And allegedly they're taking over the entire space. And I haven't seen the entire space of Fold, even though I've been to Fold a lot. And I was there during their first party when they first opened and shit. I haven't been to the other rooms because I don't go to Unfold. Never been there. You know, because I have a job and shit. I can't be raving on a Sunday. But I haven't seen the other rooms. But allegedly the other rooms are pretty sick. So that'll be a good chance to see them because it's unlikely that I'm ever going to go to Fold. So I am really excited to check out this space and see what I want. Let's actually see if they say early bird tickets are available. Really? Early bird tickets are available already? Let's see these I bet the early bird tickets are already sold out. How much you want to bet these early bird tickets are already fucking sold out? I bet you they fucking are. I bet you these early bird tickets, right, for this Mala Junta thing, I bet you any money they're already fucking sold out. Let me see. I bet you any money they are. Let's see. Full tickets. Where are they? There we go. Full tickets. I have a feeling they're already sold out. Let's see. Let's see what these motherfuckers are saying. Because early bird tickets are like what? £10? Unfold. You got Fold, Annabelle Arroyo playing with back to back with Alba Haidari. the Mala Junta extended event. Let's see if they got early bird tickets. If they have, I'm gonna buy them literally today, because those might be like £10-15. So it's good just to get them and store them. Even though I'm a fucking serial buyer of tickets and non-attender, I think these ones are actually will attend. So let's actually scroll down and see Wagwan here. Buy tickets. The early bird tickets still available or they're sold out? Because usually they only have like 50 available, just to get people to run and buy them straight away. Let's see how many tickets are available. Will they have early bird tickets available? Am I going to be lucky? No, of course not. Already sold out. Wow. That is crazy, bro. They already sold out the early bird tickets and the first release. So now only second release available. Fucking hell. Oh, okay, you got an entry after 6 a.m. is happening. But I guess this extended event is probably going to go on until what, like 10 a.m.? Oh, wow. It's 2 p.m. the next day. That's insane. That's not a bank holiday, is it, on that 5th of October? Let me double check my calendar here. I don't think that's a bank holiday or anything. It's just like a random weekend. That's fucking wild. It's on until 2 p.m. the next day. I'm definitely not gonna survive the whole thing, but that's gonna be quite interesting to see. Imagine all the dusty people walking to fucking Canning Town or West Ham Jubilee line to go back home, covered in muck at 2 p.m. Jaws swinging, 3 p.m. Pupils dilated. That's gonna be such a scene. This probably might be cool to start photographing some of that, actually. The people walking up the hill and go out to Canning Town and seeing all the people that leave Fold and shit. That might be a good thing to kind of document as a project. But yeah, early bird release are gone. First release are gone. Second release is available for £22, 25 including booking fee. That is crazy, bro. They saw that so fast. It's just got announced the other day, I felt like. Literally got announced the other day and already they're fucking sold out. That is insane. All right, man. All right, I guess I was late. I guess I was fucking late as per usual. But yeah, it's available now. Check it out. 5th of October. Extended Fold and Mala Junta night. Cannot wait. That'll be a fucking sick one. Renee fucking Wise is playing again. That's easy excuse to go and see, to go and hang out at Fold. You know, I haven't been in ages. D.I.E playing, who I'm a big fan of. DJ Tool, who I love. Yazis, who I love. Album actually released recently, is fucking sick. So I'm really curious to see what they're going to be like IRL. Definitely curious to see what they're going to be like IRL. Next, we have to mention this event happening at Fold. Forward. Remember the legendary Forward night, man? That used to happen at Matter, Plastic Peoples. I used to go to back in the day. This might have been my introduction to actual drum and bass. I'm not going to lie. So this is pretty sick to see. It also, weirdly enough, this might be the only Fold event that might have the most black people ever. Apart from some of those like reggae nights they used to do, those dub nights, I'm not sure if they still do them anymore, but this might be one of the only weekends where you'll see a increased amount of like black people, which is nice because, you know, usually Forward is very, very white, as per their fucking resident DJ list and, you know, parties in general. But it's gonna be nice to see that little bit of a mix in there, right? So a couple more Air Maxes, a couple more tracksuits, maybe a couple more Sovereign rings, maybe a couple more people sneaking in Magnums and shit, maybe a couple of more fucking Shiesties and shit, you know, just to kind of, you know, kind of give a bit of a judge. So I'm happy to see that. Lineup is pretty dusty, not gonna lie. I think a lot of these people need to just hang it up and move on. But regardless, let's read the blurb. Forward status of dance music history is cemented. Now the mythical event series, birthplace of dubstep, will come to Fold for the very first time in October. The 2000s have defined the meteoric rise of the bass-driven heavy music. Launched in 2001, the club night quickly cultivated a space for underground British music to thrive. First in Velvet Rooms, then showed its fabled realm of darkness, Plastic Peoples. Also Matter, by the way. Matter's one of the best venues out. Underfloor fucking speakers and shit. Like fucking crepe lace, with their speaker rattling bass and low end extremes and constant embracing of new emerging sounds. Fold was a breeding ground for the next generation of UK based artists that would come to dominate the dance floors and the airways for years to come. On Friday, the 11th of October, Forward takes over Fold. Joining them will be Joker, Introspective, Vivek, Rennie, Plastician, Dazzle Boy, Horsepower Productions, AL03, Crazy D, and I guess maybe a few more people. Obviously not the best banging lineup in the world, but still, you know, if you like that kind of music, if you're still listening to dubstep and shit, and I guess because we have like a 2000s revival going on at the moment, which feels very kind of trendy and very kind of blip on the radar. It's probably going to go away after, you know, the end of the year. Like trance is probably going to go back into its fucking hole as well, thank God. But if you're into it, you know, probably go and check it out. You know, dubstep is still decent, especially some of the older stuff. That might be a good thing to go and check out. But yeah, probably the only time you'll see a proliferation or an increase, especially if not black people, you know, a couple of what you describe as roadmen will be at fucking forward. So looking forward to that. That should be a good one. I'll probably not go though, because, you know, I don't like to live in the past. I think same thing with funky house nights. There's no chance I'm going to like a funky house night in 2024, and there's no chance I'm going to a dubstep night, especially a forward night in 2024 also. It was a good time. I had a blast when it was happening, but no need to relive that shit in my personal opinion. But again, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. You never, ever know. Anyways, my friends, I've got to head off to the gym. So this is going to be it for now. And I'm going to come back later with another episode. And obviously later on as well, you shall see a random show on the actual specific random show channel, which is findable in my description. I'm fucking in my words because I need to go out and fucking pump juice into my brain. So, big up everybody tuning in. Appreciate all of you so much. You will see me in probably an hour and a half later. I'll be back again to do another episode. But for now, I'm going to head off to the gym, have a good pump and whatever it may be on my day off today. So, thank you so much for that. For those of you tuning in live, please make sure you like the stream before you leave. Like the stream before you leave. If you listen to this after the fact on the old fucking audio side of the fucking pod, you know what you can do? You know what you can do if you listen to this audio side of the pod? You know what you can do. Make sure you leave me a 5-star review. That'd be greatly appreciated. And that's basically it for the most part. And before I leave you guys, those of you tuning in via the audio side of the pod, I would like to play my tune of the day for you. My tune of the day for you, those of you tuning in, will be a song from Delicate Steve from his new album called Delicate Steve Sings. It's an album full of covers, which I think are really nice. It's like the perfect sort of like hotel lounge, or just like, you know, stuff to play in the background while you're cleaning the house on the weekend sort of music. And it's also quite refreshing because a lot of the stuff I listen to, which I kind of only realized once I was listening to this album, everything I listen to has some form of lyricism in it. Everyone's got lyrics in their fucking albums. So it's quite nice to listen to an album that's just fully instrumentals, right? Or covers of instrumentals, or instrumental covers, sorry. So definitely check it out. Delicate Steve. The song I'm going to play for Delicate Steve from his new album called Delicate Steve Sings is going to be the song called Baby. Originally, it's a song that I used to play a lot during my sets as like an ender song or whatever it may be. I love it. So big up Delicate Steve. That's going to be a song of the day. Baby from his new album called Delicate Steve Sings. Thank you for checking me out. The Agostinho Zinga Show. Peace.